All right, the Reds, it is the preview show, and we are previewing Liverpool's trip to Watford on Saturday. Kick-off is at 5:30. I've got Kev, Walsh and Ian Salmon with me, and we're going to have a chat about how many the Reds are going to win by, because that's kind of what it looks like. You know, we keep doing these preview shows, and you do your research, and you look at the sides, and you just come to the conclusion that the mighty Reds surely are going to march on. And it's 18 wins on the spin now for the Reds. Another victory down there would mean a new record in English top-flight history. That would say to me that Liverpool will be motivated to go and get that. And under Jurgen Klopp, Liverpool have scored more Premier League goals versus Watford than any other team in the competition. It's 27 goals in 9 games. We were just talking then before we started about how you can sort of sow a bit of a narrative in your own mind, and I'd done it. I always slag other people off for doing it, but I'd done it. So I was going, Nigel Pearson, Watford, they done all right. They played all right at Anfield. Started looking at the actual stats, the actual facts, and it's 14 points from his first 7 league games, but they're winless in the last 5. There's not a lot to point to them causing Liverpool problems, is there? Or did they maybe just take a little bit of a chink of light from what we saw on Monday?
Yeah, I'd say they probably do, because I think we had this very same conversation about West Ham last week. Me and it was John, wasn't it? But we were saying, listen, you look at the stats, you look at the form, and there was no chance they were going to do anything. And then before you know it, with 2-1 down, I don't see them. Obviously, Liverpool come back and do what we do. But if you were Watford, you'd be like, listen, no one else has even had a chance at them. The last 2 games they've been beat, and then they were behind at Anfield to West Ham. So if you're Pearson, it's an easy story to tell your players, isn't it? Listen, all we've got to do is this. And the players like, it's all right for you saying all we've got to do. Yeah. We're the ones on the pitch side to chase them down. But you'd think, wouldn't you, that that's their only hope. Listen, pin our hopes to this, and we'll go at Liverpool and try and bother them and try and unsettle them. But it wouldn't surprise if Liverpool had a little chat this week and just said, listen boys, let's just, whatever's been going on, I don't know. And Stemps alluded to it after the match the other night. He said about, this is the second game in a row we conceded off a corner, and that's not good enough. So that's before they've even got back into the changing rooms. He's talking about that. So you'd imagine there's just been a little bit of a reset. Here's what we're doing, here's what's gone wrong. And this is a team that learns from what it does well, but also what it's done wrong. So you'd imagine Liverpool will get over that.
Watford as well, Ian, like, you know, again, the perception thing, I still feel like there's maybe a little bit of a residual thing kicking around all the way back from 2015 when we have an absolute nightmare down there, get beat 3-0, our players are being bullied. I think Bogdan's in goal that day, isn't he? And yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare, but we've won every game since. So every game since that day in 2015, we've beat Watford, and we've only lost 5 of 33 games ever against Watford, although 4 of those 5 were down at Watford. How are you feeling about it? And you've gone through my little stat pack there.
I love the stat pack. I done a bit of research on my own this morning. It was nowhere near this comprehensive. I watched the video from the game at Anfield where you look and go, if Watford could score goals, then it might have been a different matter. They might have pulled us back. They had a couple of absolutely golden chances to score, and blazed high, blazed wide, put the ball all over the place, anywhere except anywhere near the net. Decore could have had a goal. Decore sets one up for one of the other lads. Deeney, you think, is always a threat, but realistically, they weren't.
One of them was an unbelievable miss, wasn't it? It was like I don't know how you've done that.
One's almost Ronnie Rosenthal-esque.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where they're not, I don't see them as a threat anymore. I thought the same thing. I looked and thought, well, you know, Watford, Pearson's come in, there's a new manager, Bounce. He did quite well as soon as he came in. They've got a bit of momentum going. No, they haven't.
No.
They've literally got nothing.
They're really struggling. It's another relegation candidate against Liverpool. I think as well, Kev, you know, there's so much stuff to take in about how good Liverpool are. It's hard to process it all, isn't it? Like there's another match, it's another record, another best. And you know, I've pulled up here the home and away tables for the Premier League. Liverpool are top of both of them. But on the road, it's unbelievable. So played 13, won 12, drawn 1, lost none, scored 26, but conceded 6. And that's by far and away the best defence on the road. So, you know, after that, you're looking at like sort of Leicester have conceded 12 there. But no one's sort of, Sheffield United have only conceded 12 on the road. But no one's near. Like the consistency on the road's been unbelievable, hasn't it?
Yeah, but they're a team that they've got players right through the spine of the team that just will not allow any sort of drop. We say it every week on this show most of the time, saying, like, the players out there will not take anybody for granted. So it doesn't matter if it's Watford who are near the bottom of the league, excuse me, or whether we're playing Man City away or whatever. The likes of your Virgil van Dijk, your Henderson, the goalie as well, Mo Salah, just go through the span of the team there and you just know that if anyone takes the foot off the gas, they will get absolutely nailed, and that'll be on the pitch as well as at half-time or afterwards. So they're going into these games thinking every game matters, and obviously it's getting to the point now where really it doesn't. I know we shouldn't be saying that, but it doesn't, because we're going to win the league and it's inevitably already done. But the players will not be thinking like that. And there's other players around the squad who must be looking, going, like Naby Keita the other day, he's come in and he's had a bit of a mare, if we're all totally truthful about it. And Oxlade-Chamberlain's there, comes on, changes the game, and now he must be a shoo-in to start. Adam Lallana is not necessarily at the same level as Oxlade-Chamberlain, but if there's another space that opens up or someone takes the foot off the gas all throughout the squad, like the centre-half, there's 4 of them there all vying for the positions. Maybe the full-backs are the only ones you could say aren't. But there's nobody allowed to take the foot off the gas, because if they do, there's an able-bodied replacement for them. So that's why six goals conceded all season on the road isn't unbelievable.
It's absolutely mad, isn't it? There's Watford as well score all of their goals in the Premier League in the box, which is wild.
I think we know the first thing we need to do is stop them scoring.
Yeah, and look, it's been a little bit mad, a little bit chaotic from Liverpool since the break.
Yeah,
and maybe some of the rhythm is lacking a little bit, but you kind of feel, don't you, that, you know, certainly before the season's out, it's going to click again. I've heard people talking about that again, you know, like what happens when we click again? What happens when we find that rhythm again? So there's players there, maybe Fabinho's still a little bit off. He looked better, but still not the old Fabinho.
Yeah, he's not fully sharp.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's little things like that where you just think, it feels like there could be a day where everything goes right, and all of a sudden maybe you're scoring 5, 6 and 7s again.
I think that's one that's going to come, and I think it was City that went to Watford early in the league and put 8 past them.
Yeah.
I mean, which doesn't count for anything for City anyway, it doesn't really matter. Same way that Leicester putting 9 past Southampton hasn't actually meant anything to anybody. I had a conversation with the lad who sits next to me at the match the other day, and he was saying, you know, is it true that when we came back from the break last year, which obviously was a slightly different enforced break, we wobbled and we drew a few, and it's kind of like, well, yeah, that's where it got a bit. So maybe these last 2 games have been our wobble. Maybe this is us getting back into shape.
And we still won.
And we still won.
Well,
and
apart from Atletico.
Well, yeah, apart from Atletico, which, you know, isn't a damaging loss really, because I can't see them coming and defending like that for 90 minutes, probably 120 minutes that they'll need. But maybe that's our wobble. Maybe we are ready to regroup. And as you said about the fact that no one can take their foot off the gas, I think Naby is an interesting case in point, because I think he has a fairly decent first half against West Ham, and you can see the footballer that's there. You can see what he's trying to do. You can see that when this give, run past, receive, give, run past, receive, is going to pay off at some point. He's just a little bit lightweight, but when it pays off, it's going to pay off big style. So I think he's always going to be there as a threat. Oxlade-Chamberlain gives you that drive, which would be perfect against Watford again. I think we've got that variety then. As you said, Lallana is always a good call to come in. We can even bring in a Origi. We could possibly rest one of the full-backs. You know, it could be a case of seeing Nico Williams there to give Trent a little bit of a rest. It could be a case of seeing Larouci come in for Robbo. It could just be a little case of we can freshen up a little bit, because I think we need to be going full strength on Tuesday. I think that's massive for us. So this could be one where you could see Milner coming in. You know, we're not even talking about Milner. We've got the best free transfer the world's ever seen, and we're not talking about the lad. And he's captain material. Yeah. Obviously captain material. He is the vice captain. He could walk into any side in the Premiership, and we're not even thinking of him as an option for the midfield at the moment.
Well, it's Watford that have got the problems. Let's be honest here. What Liverpool do is they're gonna whatever 11 they're gonna put out, they're gonna test Watford. Watford's recent results are as follows. They lost 3-0 to Manchester United. They drew 1-1 with Brighton. They got beat 3-2 by Everton at home, and Everton are shit. Tranmere knocked them out the cup. Tranmere beat them 2-1. It was a weakened Watford side, obviously, because they're trying to stay up. And Aston Villa beat them 2-1 as well. So yeah, it's not been going well. So what are they going to try and do? Nigel Pearson, after the Man United defeat, said it was going to be same again, and that basically all that needed to change was their attitude, and that they needed to control their anxiety and remember that they were good footballers. But of course, the tactics comes into every single game. So what are they going to do? How are they going to set up? Here's John Gibbons with the tactics board.
let's have a little bit of a look at the tactics, what we expect to see from this game. I'd be shocked if Liverpool don't play a 4-3-3. We've been playing that for 90% of the season so far, and you don't expect Liverpool to do any differently in this game. The only thing that they might do, or they might need to have a think about, obviously, is this third midfield. Does Keita get the start again? Does he go for Chamberlain, who was so impressive off the bench? Does he go for a bit of James Milner for this one? Hasn't played him for a while, who knows? But in terms of formation-wise, fully expect Liverpool to go 4-3-3 in this game, and most of the team picks itself. I just want to talk a little bit about Watford and what they've done since Nigel Pearson took over, and a few things that maybe Liverpool need to look out for. So when Pearson came in, he's played pretty much ever since he's been in the post a 4-2-3-1. Now, when he started playing that formation and he came in, a lot of the talk was around the fact that he was trying to make Watford more solid. So Watford had conceded a lot of goals. That was why the last managers had got in trouble, and that was why Watford were bottom of the league at that time. They mainly from defensive issues. So the 4-2-3-1 was seen as a more solid, obviously, defensive formation, and you to have these two defensive midfielders to give you a bit more protection to the back four there. So it's normally Capoue and Will Hughes who play in these two defensive roles in midfield, just to help out that defence and give a platform. But what it has also been able to do is unleash these three attacking players. So I'm going to talk about them all individually. The first one on the right is Ismail Assar, Sadio Mane's mate. Obviously, you'd have remembered from the Anfield game where he has a chat with Troy Deeney. He says, look after him, he's a good boy. Since that moment, I don't know what it was, whether it was Pearson, whether it was Mane's pep talk, but he absolutely went on fire for a month or so. He actually missed a few games recently. He was back for the latest Manchester United one. Before that, he missed 3. But if you look at those running games just before that, he actually got 3 assists and 2 goals in 5 games. So it was absolutely on fire. He is lightning fast. And if we expect Watford to play more like the away team in this, so obviously Watford at home, but if we expect them to set up more like the away team, conceding possession to Liverpool, but looking to hit Liverpool on the break, then Sarr will be a key factor of this, so I expect him to get the nod over Pereira on that side just because of his pace. On this left side, we've got Delafelu, old friend there from Everton days and things like that. He's in a really good form as well at the moment. Pearson's done really well at him. If you look at assists in particular from him from the last 5 or 6 games, I think he only got 2 before Christmas, but has been on fire recently. But obviously the big one, and the one that a lot of people are talking about, is Decore. Now Decore, we've thought of in this country as maybe something more of a destroyer, or certainly a box-to-box midfielder, so someone who's going to win you the ball, someone who's going to carry it, someone who's going to be a real presence in the centre. But as much from his defensive work and as much from his annoyance factor and how hard he is to play against, rather than kind of any end product, since he's been playing almost in this number 10 role, he's been unleashed by Nigel Pearson, and we've seen that. He scored 1 goal in the Premier League before New Year's Day. He's got 3 in the last 7 from that position, so he's really on fire at the moment, and Liverpool will have to watch him. Whoever's playing in this position, we would imagine Fabinho is going to have his work cut out with Decore, and obviously they've got Troy Deeney up front. Now Troy Deeney missed a lot of that first half of the season. He was really missed when Watford was struggling, but since he's come back in, I don't think it's any coincidence as well that Watford's form and kind of fortunes, if you like, have improved. He'll be able to hold the ball up. He'll be a nuisance for our defenders. He'll be looking to get in there and looking to get Watford up the pitch. The more he can hold that up, the more it allows to bring these players into play who might just bring a few more dangers to Liverpool than their league position suggests.
Okay, great stuff from John there. Nice one. A bit more on Watford before we continue the chat. 3 of their 5 wins in the league have come at home. Against Wolves in January, against Villa in December, and against Manchester United in December. Their other 2 wins in the league have been against Bournemouth, and that was in January, and Norwich away in November. They did seem to have a little bit of a purple patch when Troy Deeney scored all 5 of his Premier League goals, which makes him Watford's top scorer. Since then, though, they have had some beef, they have had some problems. We mentioned before that maybe they take something from what they saw against West Ham. But we're all loving this stat, aren't we? That the Reds have not conceded more than once in consecutive league games since December 2016. Now, that's fucking brilliant, isn't it? Because it sounds like basically when something goes wrong at all, they all get together as a group, manager and players, and they sort it. So whatever was happening there on Monday, And you mentioned Trent before, talking about set pieces. You feel like they'll sort it pretty quickly.
100%, because it's not just, like, normally for something like that to happen and the club to get onto it, you'd say, like, well, the coaches have obviously spotted something here. But you can imagine with this group of players that you can see them going, listen, I know exactly what's gone wrong here before. You can pepper in the saying, here's what we're going to do. And Virgil's just gone, we know what we've done. We've already spoke about it, this is it. Obviously, they'll take on board what the coaches are saying, but that pedigree of players, that they want perfection. And you said before about Keita, like, as a performance the other day, it struck with me a little bit because I think we are comparing people to perfection, aren't we?
Yeah.
Like, when we concede a goal, you're like, oh, how have we conceded that goal? Whereas, you're like, it's football, innit? Goals go in against you sometimes. Poor Naby Keita must be looking around going, I'm not actually playing that bad, but he's getting pelters off everyone else. So our players, with that stat, that when we read it out, I was like, it feels like a lifetime ago, December 2016. I don't even know if I had kids then or what, do you know what I mean? I think I had it. It was that long ago. But it just shows you, as you say, how resilient they are and how good they are. It's not just a mentality thing with them. They're brilliant footballers as well. So when they get told that something's gone wrong and here's how we fix it, they listen. Or, as I say, maybe they even just fix it themselves before they even need to be told.
But this is part of the identity that Klopp's always bought for, isn't it? He's bought for players who are intelligent and can actually manage the game on the pitch and be given the freedom to play as they want to play, but still understand what they need to do within the tactical setup and then sort issues as they arise. So he's just building a perfect machine. I think, you know, that stat about not having conceded more than once in consecutive league games since 2016, I think we're underestimating how great we are. I honestly don't think we're kind of letting these things, this, you know, 18 on the bounce, yeah, 21 on the bounce at home, yeah, sound, whatever. These things are just going past us now. As we're forgetting that these are ridiculous achievements that would be other teams' greatest ever achievements.
Fuming, isn't it? You know what I mean? We're so used to kicking off or protesting or something that, like, when it's all going right, it's like, I don't know what I'm meant to do here.
Watch out, FSG, we're coming for you over something.
Yeah, how dare you post the best financial results we've ever had? Yeah.
It is so good, and everything about talking about the Reds is so good right now. And it's like, you know, I'm going to ask the lads now what they think Liverpool might do in terms of team and setup. We've touched on it a little bit. Before we do that, I just want to throw a couple more things at you that may influence your coupon or may just make you feel good, because that's what we're all about here. Mane has scored or assisted against Watford in every game he's played for Liverpool against them. So it's 5 goals and 4 assists. And Mo Salah has scored 8 goals against Watford in only 5 games. He scored both, as we mentioned before, in the 2-0 game at Anfield this season. So in terms of the team then, boys, like I say, we have touched on it. We've mentioned Naby, the fact that he's hooked, the fact that Oxlade-Chamberlain comes on and performs really well and lifts the crowd and nearly scores, and, you know, he's dribbling the ball, he's positive as soon as he comes on. Are we saying that's nailed on, that he's in for him?
In my head, yeah. But you know what Klopp's like? Sometimes he will make a decision that you go, is that the right one? As if to say, well, listen, I'm the boss here and I'm the one who makes them. But with Keita, I don't know whether maybe a little bit of him is thinking, it's not going well. It's not. Maybe his head's not 100% right. Whereas you can imagine Oxlade-Chamberlain to be like, Gaffer, come on, what else have I got to do? Do you know what I mean? So it's all right saying, oh, well, if I take Keita out, it'll make him feel bad, or if I leave him in, it'll make him feel better. Oxlade-Chamberlain has got exactly the same issue. He hasn't started that many games for us. And when he does start in midfield, he's excellent. When he starts up front, I'm not a massive fan of that. But when we've got no Henderson out, you think of an away game, you think Fabinho in there with Wijnaldum as the sort of your base to build it from, and then Oxlade-Chamberlain joining the front 3 to make a 4. You just think, if you were Watford, you wouldn't fancy facing that. And that's one of the best things you can do when you're picking a team, isn't it? What don't the opposition want to see? Yeah. And I'd say the opposition probably do want to see Keita, and they don't want to see Oxlade-Chamberlain. So for me, that makes the decision for you.
And you want to go wild? You want to lash Nico in? And
I'll lash anybody in. Honest to God, I can't see any world where we lose to Watford. I think we can make 2 or 3 changes. I can't see a world where we lose to Watford. And we're going Saturday evening to Tuesday. And suddenly Tuesday, would it be in Chelsea? If it was another Shrewsbury game, if it was, you know, anybody else, if it was lower division, I'd be quite happy using the cup team that we've used the last 2. And still see some of those lads anyway. But I think we need to be stronger on Tuesday, because I'm not looking at this going, I just want the league, I want the league. We've got the league. The league's pretty much done. And what I want now is I want the treble. I want the treble. I want more points than anyone's ever got. I want to go to the season unbeaten. I want to set a standard that nobody is ever going to reach again, including ourselves. So everybody wants to win, can win next season because we're not as good as this season, because no one's ever going to be as good as this season. So I think against Chelsea, we need to... I think Oxlade-Chamberlain could be a good call for Chelsea for driving their back four from there. Because Chelsea wants something from the season. Lampard wants something to be able to say, look, I didn't have a transfer window and I still came out with a trophy. And this is obviously their best chance now because they're basically out of Europe. So this is going to be a big game for them. And I think he'll go full strength because it's going to be vital. So I think we need to treat that game very, very seriously. Watford, I think you could easily say, okay, we'll drop a couple. I think it could be a case you see Naby again against Watford with Oxlade-Chamberlain coming on late again to drive from deep again.
I was going to say that's the other thing, Kev, isn't it? The idea that, you know, you go strong like you're saying, but then you try and get it won, and then you start subbing people off and do it and sort of manage minutes that way rather than going mad, throwing everything up in the air.
It's all well and good us saying go out and win it and get it done, and I think we've said that a few times, especially on these shows. Yeah. And if you look at the way we've won most of our games this season, it's been by the odd goal. We don't necessarily go out and I've said it before. Yeah, Man City blow teams away, don't they? And that's their thing. But the thing is, if you can get Man City to 35-40 minutes and they haven't scored, you can see it. It's a mental thing with them now. To think if we don't get one before half time, it could go wrong for us. Yeah. Whereas with Liverpool, you see teams, look at Villa when we were 1-0 down. Even Villa knew we were still going to win, do you know what I mean? West Ham went 2-1 up the other day. They knew we were still going to beat them. We've got that sort of relentless grinding going on, and I think if you could make the changes because we've got an ethos throughout the whole squad. But I personally just think Klopp's looking at it thinking, we've just come back from a 2-week break. We've historically we're bad after a break, but getting back into rhythm. We've had, 6 days between the game. It's only 3 before Chelsea. But for me, for the Chelsea game, if I was Klopp, I'd just be thinking, if I don't pick Curtis Jones in that midfield for Chelsea, he's going to boot the door off my office. Do you know what I mean? He's just not going to be happy, is he? Because he's earned his right to be in there. Harvey Elliott is probably going to have a decision to make. Nico Williams, I imagine he'd go absolutely nuts to not get that Chelsea game. I agree with you, I want the treble. But the mad thing is, I'd be confident of going to Chelsea because I'm not sure they're a great team with the youngsters in there, with a mix of maybe something a little bit more experienced up front. I don't know whether it's necessarily an E because he hasn't been great this season, has he? But maybe leave a Mane in there just so they've got something to think about and give the youngsters, not just the youngsters team, just say, okay, well, here's what we're doing now. We're putting you in alongside the big boys. So that raises their level again. I think that'd be enough to beat Chelsea. So personally, I'd go as strong as we can against Watford because they're not great, but by the same token, we're not blowing teams away, so I'd be very worried about dropping the level.
If he wants to combine, you could argue in Chelsea for a front line of Origi on the left, Mane up the centre, and Elliott out on the right, which brings the lad through. Jones, Oxlade-Chamberlain, and possibly Lallana, possibly Fabinho, possibly Chirivella because he's been excellent every time he's appeared.
He probably does deserve to be in there, doesn't he, Pedro Chirivella?
We've had some big scores against Watford in recent years. We've had a 5-0 at Anfield, we've had a 3-0 at Vicarage Road, we've had another 5-0 at Anfield, we had a 6-1 at Anfield in 2016. So what are we saying? You've just said we don't do that now, but you've got to predict the score now.
Well, normally I predict 4-0, it just doesn't happen anymore, so I'm going to predict 1-0 with the hope that I'll double bluff them into scoring 4.
And Ian, what are you going for?
I think it's 3-0 as it would have been at home if it wasn't for the fact that VAR gave Sadio's armpit offside again.
Okay, brilliant. Let's see what happens. Liverpool will be, as Kev says, as Kev does on the dance floor, relentlessly grinding this weekend. That has been the preview show. Up the fucking Reds.